So, I'm going to talk to you about general technique improvement, what to do, how to do it, and how useful it is. When I was at college, there was a chap who used to teach us, Anton Weinberg, who swore by his way of doing his practice and his learning. He would practice exercises and scales particularly, all the time, but not pieces. And he would then, when he learned a piece, he would have the music in front of him and he would learn it by memory, by looking at it. And so the first time he would play the piece would be without the music, and he would do it perfectly because he'd learned the piece correctly and he'd got the technique to be able to do it. So there was no kind of practicing a particular piece. We all thought he was mad. I still think he's mad, but I think there is something in that. There's a sliding scale of how much we can bear to do this. And my sliding scale is not really close to his way. But bearing that in mind, it's a very good idea. So we can use our technique, get our technique better away from the piece. One of the things I do on the clarinet, this is very clarinet centric, but we can adapt it according to our own instruments. We all know what the difficult things are. For woodwind instruments, scales, probably for strings, maybe brass is more lip flexibility, but it's the relentless practice of those technical things which are really important. On the clarinet, I do scales with one extra note, so it's an octave scale plus a note, so it's 8 notes up, 8 notes down, and so it can be circular in 4/4. This we can do as many times as we can, and we can adapt it. Could be tongued. We can do minor. Depending on what we're trying to get our fingers to do. But the regularity of that practice, that scale practice, is like going to the gym and just doing press-ups. It takes a long time to get our muscles different. We may have one good session, but the next session we just feel as though we've never done it before. It's exactly the same with scales, but bit by bit we get better. Now on the clarinet, the danger scales are onto all the sharps and flats. Now I'll give you an example. D flat major. It sounds incredibly untidy, but my aim is to try and get D flat major to be exactly the same smoothness as D flat, as F major. One of my friends went to do 3 years postgraduate study on the clarinet with a teacher in Germany, and he said after 6 weeks all he'd done was E major scale for an octave for 6 weeks, and he nearly gave up. After 5 weeks he nearly gave up, but after 6 weeks he said his technique was completely transformed, and I was captivated by this, and I tried it myself, and it works. I tell you, you have to do it over and over and over and over again. I'm rubbish at it because I haven't really practiced it enough, but I can feel where I'm going wrong. I can feel the bits of my finger that are not strong enough, and I'm just going to do it over and over again with a metronome, just like going to a gym with thumping music, but the metronome is enough. And I can adapt it. I feel there's a little bit of a wobble at the bottom. And I can do it at different volumes. And I'm just trying to work out why it's untidy. Is my finger just being sluggish? Is it not being sluggish? But like a good gym session is a really good thing to do. And then we can do it in different areas of the instrument. For string players, maybe crossing strings is a tricky thing. Maybe there's arpeggios, maybe there's bowing, but it's just the repetition of it over and over and over and over again is a really good thing to do. So we get our technique sorted out. If we're playing a piece in D flat major, practice D flat major scale, practice A flat major scale. All the tricky little bits, all the things around the instrument that are not really very nice. And we can break these scales up into halves. If they're easy. Now I'll show you with that C major, you can see my fingers dancing around too much. So as I'm doing it, I'm going to try and concentrate on keeping it smooth, but sounding a bit rubbish to me, but tomorrow it'll be a bit better, the next day it'll be a bit better, and then after 3 or 4 weeks, if I do it every time, my hands will be really ready and rocking for something really tricky, all the difficult passages, which I'll talk about next time.